the National Chief Imam, Sheikh Dr. Othman Nuruchi at this important gathering. And I am particularly glad that men and women of the Muslim fraternity in the judicial service have mounted this platform for a discourse on gender parity in the context of nation building. We must all commend the organizers of this function because they have brought to us a very critical issue confronting not only Ghana, but the global community. And it is important for all of us to understand that we must all be concerned about that issue. Although unscripted, my presentation is structured on the three model of cause, effect, and solution. What is the cause of gender disparity? Because the issue here is gender disparity. That justifies the need for gender parity. What is then the cause? Two, there is the need for us to know whether gender parity is a norm of Islam. And I'm happy all the previous speakers have spoken within the context of their own expertise. My sister Hanifa spoke in relation to law. My sister Doctor spoke in relation to medicine, and therefore it is fair for me to also speak in relation to religion. But because not all of us are Muslims, my analysis will be viewpoints of Islam and of secular community, because ours is not only religion. It emphasizes the need for knowledge as a critical element of nation building. Even in the secular community, in secularism, knowledge becomes the propeller of development in any decent community. Then we realize that from the Quranic viewpoint, knowledge, anything good, and any other thing that you are supposed to do to be successful are meant for the male gender and the female gender. Now, I asked of the origin of the gender disparity. What is the cause of gender disparity? Remember, I said my presentation will be based on the three-dimensional model of cause, effect, and solution. What is the cause of gender disparity? Clearly, from anthropology to sociology, patriarchy has been identified as the leading cause of gender disparity. What is then patriarchy? Patriarchy is simply the concept of male dominance, in simple language. The concept of male dominance, that is what we call patriarchy. And this is not, people argue that it is a natural phenomenon. It is not. It is not a natural phenomenon. It is a man-made toxicity fueled by male's love for leadership. It is not. So because of patriarchy, we have seen that in all communities, at the global level, at the national level, men are dominating. But patriarchy itself is not something wrong. It is the application that makes patriarchy bad or good. Patriarchy, when applied constructively, is supposed to be protective of both genders. But if it is misapplied, then it becomes suppressive to the woman. And it is important for all of us to understand that patriarchy should be tackled at all levels. modern society cannot at all achieve any iota of development if we do not accept the potential of the man and the woman. It is also important for all of us to understand that gender parity will continue to be a problem if we do not make any conscious effort to solve it. Why should moral community be concerned about gender parity? It is because it's a moral issue. And the moral compass of the world remains defective if gender disparity continues to be a defining feature of humanity. And that brings us to the effect. Why do we say so? Because gender parity has robbed humanity of a substantial degree of development. In fact, it has relegated to the background a critical segment of the human population, and that is the female population. This is a population that can be described as the womb that carries the man. And this population should be taken into consideration anytime at all we want to talk about development. We need to understand that gender disparity has been a very destructive factor confronting human survival at the global level and at the national level. We need to understand that this is not the time we should be silent. If you are a man or a woman, this is not the time you should be silent. This is not the time silence is golden. This is the time silence is complicit. And we, as moral community, must prefer the utterance of responsibility to the silence of complicity. What then do we do to solve the issues of gender disparity at the global level? In fact, national level, we cannot solve it if we do not solve the problem at the global level. And you all agree with me that the global order itself is defective. It's gender bias against the woman. Take the UN. Take the UN. Take the UN Charter, the UN composition. And you will agree with me that the United Nations composition itself is male-dominated. You come to the various levels of the nations, and you will agree with me that governments of the various countries are run largely by men. And therefore, at that level, the Office of National Chief Imam is calling for the shift of global order that will recognize the effective contribution of women. In fact, we are calling for an era when the United Nations Secretary General will be a female. At the national level, we call on the government to do everything possible. It is already doing, but the government should do more to include women at the level of governance. The government, even if it means changing the constitution or amendment of the constitution to ensure that women are given appropriate opportunities at all levels of government, the government must do so. We are suggesting that yes, going forward, we want more women in the cabinet, even if it means changing some aspects of the constitution. We are also calling for more women in the legislature. I know at this time, unless the constitution is amended, it may not be possible. But even if that demands constitutional amendment, we want that. In the end, I want all of us to accept that the need for gender parity in nation building is a struggle. that we must all accept. Yeah. And with hard work, perseverance, faith, and resilience, in the end, we will not remember the discomfort of the struggle, but the comfort of our victory. The generations yet unborn will remember us, not because we lived before them, but because for them, the legacy of gender parity, the legacy of gender justice, the legacy of gender harmony, the legacy of gender fairness. And I believe that Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. And I believe that together our struggle will be influenced by the hope of success and not by the fear of failure. God bless all of us, and thank you all. Wassalamu alaikum. This earth. And they, listen very well, they, not that person again, not female and they will also be rewarded more than what they did when they come to us hereafter. That is on the day of judgment. Even though, Madam Chair, this is not a linguistic class, permit me to use basic linguistic analysis so that at the end of the day, we will all appreciate the relevance of this verse to the theme of this country. Whoever, we all agree in simple grammar, the pronoun whoever is generic. If you say whoever, it is neither female nor male. It's generic. So the verse starts with genericity, and it goes, the genericity of that pronoun is emphasized by the application of gender identifying words, male or female. Then it goes. At the end of the day, it starts from genericity, and then it comes to, and we shall reward them. So it starts from whoever and ends with them. So what happened? What this means is that the verse starts with the singularity of plural sense and ends with the plurality of plural sense. When you come to the end, it tells you that the whoever represents the man, the woman, the girl, the boy, and all of them are entitled to doing good and getting the reward of good. Beyond the Quran, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam advises us to seek knowledge, and the advice goes to the man and the woman. طلب العلم فريضة على كل مسلم ومسلمة. So this tells us that knowledge, which is the bedrock of nation building, is meant for man and for the woman. Excuse me to take over.